everyone. Welcome once again to more of the Cosmic Turnabout. Last time, we did investigations with Phoenix and Athena. Apollo was in the hospital, and he was like, yeah, I'm quitting. I gotta go find the killer my own way. And that only, I assume, means that Apollo's gonna kill this dude. Because, I don't know, it could be Yuri. The evidence seems to be pointing towards him since the command room is kind of near there, and also, I don't know, it could be the dead person. It could be Candace's arm, which would be quite interesting. Also, last time we met both Yuri and Aura Blackwell, who are the two, I guess, main suspects here. Oh, also, yeah, Phoenix is in the hot seat today. Oh, and the judge isn't here. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something. Objection! Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? I'm pretty sure you hiding under the bench isn't gonna protect you from explosions. There are no more bombs. I promise. The motherfucker's hiding under a bench. That's not gonna protect you from anything. Oh, yes. Oh, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, to be fair, yes, there were literally 2 trials in a row this guy had to do. Bombs were involved. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. Because of this guy. And then Mr. Tenate self-destructed. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tenate. Yeah. Well, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tenate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trials so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. It's time for Phoenix to come back. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I swear if you break your chains, he's gonna do it. I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time? Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. He's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. Yeah. Ever tell you about this guy who just had a super cool high-tech mask? Tell you about this girl who just whipped people? It's kind of hot. No, I don't. What? You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. Let's see. In the previous part of his trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1, carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The 2 astronauts used Launchpad 1, the Launchpad 1 corridor, to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct. Yes. He usually is. So that means the testimonies of the first 2 people on the scene are suspect. There were 2 people who claimed to be the first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Well, one of them is now dead, and let's see, the 2 people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos. You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. Just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow! He killed my witness! He killed Detective Arm. That Yes, he did indeed do that. He definitely put a kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it's Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright and Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense agrees there was a third person in the lounge. That is who killed the victim. Objection. Say agrees or argues? Oh, argues. Yeah, I was like, I don't think agree would not be the term there. Yeah. To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you got dotty already, old man? I'm like 10 years older than you, buddy. We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. Oh, about to get rocked, dude. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, the Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a third person? Well, they saw a figure. I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right. I almost forgot that. Or as Prosecutor Blackwell's sister, how did you almost forget that? No matter. She didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? I guess we go to him. Very well. Bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Oh, goddamn, I forgot. I need to now check my audio because I always keep forgetting that I put the gain up when I have this hang out with friends. I think it's fine, but it's probably less peaky. There's already gain on my filter, so I don't need to put the manual gain on the microphone, but I just I don't use the filter when I'm playing 14. Alright. Well, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have! Of course you have! I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. I thought it was named after space, but okay. Fair. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? It's got a nice name. Look like he's all geared up to do some bragging. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1, and... Was it successful? No. Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So, could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation of greatness. Now allow me to begin my epical testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now. It sounded more like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. Yeah, I assume so. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Yeah, we don't want to... We don't be here all day, buddy. Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. Condensed, I don't know the meaning of that word. Goes on for 2 hours. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Why? I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge, and just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror! The humanity! But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. What a sentence. Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger. Pose, risking my own life for theirs. Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Right. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had to peek from far away. Yeah, I was like, if you cared about him, you probably would have gone in there to stop that mess. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm gonna have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. Yeah. Alright. It didn't seem like there was any contradiction in the statement from what I read. Right, you rushed to the boarding lounge. Where were you coming from? The 6th floor. We were making sure stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about Starbuck and Terran and hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. On my galactic scooter here, of course. Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space? Of course! It's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships. Those don't exist. Unless the Ace Attorney universe is a lot more advanced than I thought. I see. Then I take it works in 0G too. Sadly no, but the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless. Well, that's a galactic bummer. Galactic bummer. I see, so you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick. Space-age pogo stick. And when you got to the scene, what did you see? You peeked inside, huh? Let me see. Let's see. According to this diagram, you didn't have to go to the control room to get to boarding lounge 1. There's many different ways. Looks like you would have gone there from the southern corridor as well. Yes, but in her haste, Detective Arm rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind her. I see. So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door, and then you saw the incident in question. Hold it! So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly, or what they were doing. Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person, standing motionless. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? I'm so close, but without evidence, I can't prove the person's a third party. I don't relish in this. And... relish? Are we making hot dogs? Hold it! You assume it is Starbucks. Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see the figure's face clearly? No. Not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Tehran, but I couldn't see who the other person was. Then why did you say? So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck. Isn't that correct? I would like to believe that. Mr. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder.
Objection!
Objection. When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director? Yes! That's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark. The figure vanished. But you are now the only sole witness, as one of the other ones is dead. So we have to believe what you say on all of this. Well, okay, the other witness is outside the window, but she only peered in for like a bit. From her perspective, at least. You mean when it disappeared? That's odd. Huh.
Objection!
Objection! The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witnesses aren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. Hold it! Hold on, Director Cosmos. Did you ever take your eyes off the scene? Just for a brief instant, but as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time. What escape route could this person have used? Yes. Let's just go back into the launchpad corridor. I don't think so, as you... That's the only one, right? The direction opposite to the control room. The southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
Objection! All things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? It's always the onus on me to provide proof. What if I'm tired of providing proof? Why don't you provide proof, huh? Well... If we're talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and a lunar researcher would say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. Huh. Right. And as long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. But I say, there's your proof that this quiet kingdom exists. Also, watch out, university professor. He's the fucking... is the Aristotle means. He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. It would make sense. What that university professor said is complete batshit insanity. And he's right. I don't have any proof yet. Still. The southern door was a possible escape route. I'd better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes. Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? Ha 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 ha! There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arms saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer. I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly, and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. So okay, 1 bullet we found, but the other bullet's missing. Information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony. Or maybe it's a contradiction. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots at the figure. Yeah. From what we saw in that room, the glass window was broken. A single bullet hole was found in the boarding lounge. The bullet itself missing. Okay, this is probably the bullet that was there. So it's only 1 bullet, or maybe he's either lying or something else happened. Maybe he hit the person and it's in them, just like in the Von Karma case, where the bullet was in Von Karma, and he, well, had to take it with him.
Objection!
Objection! So explain this. Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? You doubt my words? Words that will someday be written down in the history books! Oh, he's fucking revving it up, bro. Ready to just run over me. Goodness. Somehow I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand? You said Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. What? Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once. And Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book.
Objection!
Objection! Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirm that two shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun.
Objection!
Objection! But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! Please calm that bird down. You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. Ah, hit the oxygen tank. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun. The same caliber as the detective's gun. Okay. Interesting. Hello, Snowmonkey. But there's a .10 caliber gun. The victim's oxygen tank was struck by a bullet. The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. The bullet found near the victim's oxygen tank. It was fired from .38 caliber handgun. Rifling marks? They're like a gun's fingerprint on a bullet, correct? Yes, oh, I remember we discussed that. Fun times. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber gun, huh? I better update the record. Was it though? So that one's the one that fired there, huh? Very good. Now, we know the fate of both the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all your questions? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display, and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? No, it does not. There's so much more to talk about. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun, but that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh! Well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a third person at the scene? That's the .38. This is the .10 caliber handgun. And what is this metal pellet supposed to be? Just a little snack for you. Do you want it? Maybe later. Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. It looks like the police and the prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a .10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers. That means... Exactly. One more person must have been in there. Been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire .10 caliber bullets. Why did you react to that? Why did you react to that? Is it yours? Huh? Is this yours? And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. Also, shout out to Phoenix's old theme. Kirby with a gun. You got orchestration and everything. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. In return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Ha 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 ha! Look what you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival! Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Why didn't you say that before? What's just now? Oh, I have a water with me. I should drink some. What? You never breathed a word of this to me before. Yeah, thank you. Ha 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 ha! We all great men have a secret or two, don't you know? Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a third person all along. Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give an accurate testimony. Yeah, bro, what are you doing? Also, that star on his right there looks like a fucking Super Mario star. Maybe that's a reference, because this game series used to be on the Nintendo consoles. The handheld specifically. Detective Arm and I rushed to the courtroom together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor. We were still in the courtroom to the east when the figure fired at us. Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. More likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door. The one that didn't have a security lock. They're like, I'm out, bitch.
Objection.
See ya. I knew you were gonna object to that, but can't you let me have this moment? Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandled one, and it is you who is cut down. Objection, this man is making a sword analogy. This has nothing to do with the case. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Space Boy were the killer as well. Think about it, after being discovered, he could have fired a 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person. Objection! Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police. Nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection.
Oh, hello, second. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. the defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
Objection. But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon. Also, I am getting a phone call, right? But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why did the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket naturally? The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. I did forget about that. Phoenix. Well, we could go with the fact that the third party put it in there. He was drugged. Look, your baldness. How deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced through our third-person theory to ribbons, and it served it to us just like that. Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot. What did it hit exactly? It hit me. Huh? So does that mean you're a ghost? Dude. Yes, he's a ghost. It's ghosts again. I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can pass through walls. What? Shut up. What are you talking about, buddy?
Objection!
Objection. Your Honor, he's fucking with you. Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Don't call me old. I thought it was pretty funny. Your baldness, it was all in jest. At least show yourself again, you fucking idiot. Well, are you sure? In that case. How did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle! A miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as explain attack! The bullet hit my glorious medal of honor. Oh, that classic gem. Bullet hits the thing in your pocket. Whereby it ricocheted, saving my life. It ricocheted off that thing? What? Everyone's going crazy. That's unbelievable. It happens in movies all the time. It's fine. And this is an anime video game. I have to check this out. Oh, wow. Look at that. There's one extra Gyaxa star. Huh. Why did it make a star symbol like that? The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. I'm beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? Why do you keep concealing these informations? Oh man, he's doing the Shinji's dad pose. A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. I'll get into robot. Phoenix. What? It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Yeah, he keeps hiding things and not telling us about them. And then he's like, all right, that did happen. It's like, what? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. I totally forgot what the statement was at this point. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Cross-examination. Rush the courtroom together.
Hold it!
We've already heard all about that part. Did you have any new information? Well, let me see. If you have an hour or two, I could tell you about that one miracle. Any new information regarding the case? We already know about that too. Tell us about something related to this incident. I see. You want to know about incidents. Well then, let me tell you about the many incidents that made me the man I am today. Yes, if you have the time, I will tell you all about the upbringing of this great man.
Hold it!
Hold it. You told us all about that already as well. What we need now is your testimony. I swear if you... Did I really already tell you all about my upbringing? I don't recall doing so. I lied to get you to keep talking. Director Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later. If I must. Well, we peeked through the courtroom door and... Oh my god, that went nowhere. It was more of a statement leading back into this new story. I'm gonna do it again though. But it was so dark you couldn't see the figure's face, isn't that right? Yes. The room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Hat 1 launch 7 years ago, I am going to choke you with these chains. If that's about that Hat 1 miracle again, you can saw it off and tell it to a stray mutt. Excellent idea. No reason why the animal world shouldn't hear of my greatness. What? And so they shall. But first your testimony. What happened next? And do not talk to my bird talker. He does not want to hear. The figure fired at you. Okay, so you didn't talk about this before. So in other words, you were fired at while you were in the control room door. That's the control room door. That is correct. There's something not quite right about that. Dr. Cosmos, the bullet this person fired hit you. Isn't that right? I'm surprised the person was able to aim at him. In the dark? Yes, it was a miracle. A miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. Pew! The bullet the figure fired hit me while I was in the control room. But as Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor and ricocheted into the gutter. In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Yeah. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. And while he was there, he was shot at by someone with a .10 caliber bullet. The bullet hit his metal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great. Hey, I'm pretty lucky myself. So he's a great man. I'm the king of all the cosmos. Yeah, you fell off a fucking bridge, my dude. A burning one, and you're still alive. So only 3 statements. This is the newest one. Is there even backup power that's function? You can peek through this thing? Can you peek through this thing? Was it open at the time? You said you peeked, I guess you opened it. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Okay, so let's just assume that it's open for now. It was discovered in the gutter, the round south wall of the boarding lounge when it was fired. So let's, where's the diagrams? Is this here? Space center panel? Yeah. South wall. So over there in the gutter, it's down there near there, that door. So you weren't there, yeah. Wrong location. Objection! Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. Great man like me? Tell a lie? Have you ever heard such a thing in all of history? You literally lied to us 10 minutes ago. My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found a 10 caliber bullet here. Oh! This trajectory, where the bullet was actually found, contradict each other unless it ricocheted completely across the room. Which, I mean, I guess it's maybe possible, but that's equally as insane as it bouncing off your little metal there. So, the odds of that are way too high. Dr. Cosmos, where were you when you really... Where were you really when you were being shot at? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his metal? Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
Objection! But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course! I didn't think... What? Alright, let's go. Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there anything you'd like to expound upon? You were, in fact, not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south. Is that not right? Oh! What are you getting at? Also, why are you surprised? This is your testimony. Come on, man. Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. Says the man with the hawk. Bird's nest. Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. I forget where the screen is, but I think the screen is to the right, near the elevator section of the wall. On the right side of the wall, the east, but I don't remember exactly the positioning of that room. Why is it to the left? Doesn't show me. Okay. Oh, so the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time. Jade, yikes! His handcuffs! You will become rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright! I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away! You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given us thus far. And now you've lost your possibility of a third person. A third person was in that room. I have? How? Because this is the only way they could go through. The director and the detective were near the southern door. Meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required point recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would be no escape for any third person, had there been one. My third person just disappeared, like in one of Juicy's magic tricks. Order! Order in the court! Director Cosmos, how did you tell such an outrageous lie? You were covering for the defendant. Isn't that right? Yes! It was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the Eastern Control Room, it would mean the culprit would have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Is he really covering for the defendant? No. Now I can tell that he isn't at all. The director hired a hitman and then he let him out. I solved it. That wouldn't be funny. It wouldn't be the first hitman hired in these cases. It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defendant's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! Ha! It's over. Thanks. Just about to hand down his verdict. Which you'd think he would probably reprimand a witness for, lying in court, but sure, okay, think, Phoenix, think. It's the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was the third person? Wait, if the whole premise... What if the whole premise is wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person. Yes! The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my objection! Please wait, Your Honor. There's still one possibility. Oh? This had better be good, Mr. Wright. There's one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene, and that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room. Using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Yeah, it's the director. We're putting it on them. Fuck it. Very well. Let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? My daughter, Trucy Wright. She's a magician. No. Yuri Cosmos. What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door after all. But that means... Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness, Director Yuri Cosmos! Get fucked! Order the court, I say! Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm. and entered the boarding lounge alone. The detective arm arrived after that end and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. Pew pew. Go! I've been hit! I've been hit on the starboard side! Do not talk about starboard. Also, you were right, Snow Monkey, technically. Technically. Whee! Captain Wright! It's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir! A magnificent shot! Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. What are we doing right now? Cosmos! You have told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit! I've been hit on the port side! The enemy has called in reinforcements! After Cosmos Control Center requesting permission to ask that you return to reality. But my ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence. Objection! But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the 3rd person Aura Blackwell saw, this 3rd person fired a detective arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! It looks like you've reduced my miraculous down survival. Correct! Except it's not, bitch. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you receive from the 3rd party will be proof we need to prove that you were the one there in the lounge. Brace for further impact! Brace for further impact. Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. If he has the 10 caliber gun, and a 38 caliber gun was fired at him. Take that! The 38 caliber bullet found on the floor of at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos's metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. If that mark proves to be from a .38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the 3rd person we've been looking for. Oh! Launching altitude, all hands abandoned ship! That's true. Then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? It was a .10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was a bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? No! You've got it all wrong! What? The engines have started again? Oh. It's a miracle. I'm not going down yet. Wait, you're ascertaining that you didn't rupture the tank. Witness! Stop this at once and confess the truth! If you don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth! Have you given me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? Oh, but the cosmos revolves around me! He's going. He's going. Oh, someone get me off this! He can't stop. He can't stop. He's gonna hurl. Order! Order in the court! And someone please stop this witness from spinning! Well, this was a time. Sir, you good? You ready to stop spinning, sir? Oh, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was twirling, I took a liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the metal. It was made by a .38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No! You got it all wrong! This is just a misunderstanding! Is he gonna start piling on more lies? It looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them, one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, fading to black. To be continued. Oh, wow. All right, then. I guess it's a perfect time to take a little break. To stretch. Refill my water. Talking. Dr. Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. As I do that, I will leave it on this here. Alright. Be back in a bit. Presented defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? Oh! Does that thing still work? I thought you would get off of it by now. The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try talking your way out of this. Fine! I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. Pew, pew, pew. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. Then I went past the elevators, and all the way around the boarding lounge one again. I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second on the scene. So wait, so... Uh-huh. Did you have the thing? So you got scared. What troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am! When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness! Hold it! Hold it! Now hold on just a moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Miss Aura Blackwell saw was you. No, it wasn't me! I saw the person as well! If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall! Oh. Harsh. That is an excellent point. All I want to do is protect Starbuck. Well, it makes some sense if you told lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still a lie's a lie, Adina. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof? So wait. Oh no, he's asserting that if he was the killer, he would just let him take the fall. He still doesn't want him to take the fall. Okay, alright, I got confused there. So yes, he's not the killer. Because he'd just be like, I'm gonna lie, just say, hey, yeah, Starbuck did it. Case closed, we're done. Oh, I just remembered. I have an alibi. You have an alibi? Okay. Let's hear the alibi. Miss Blackwell said she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct? Yes. And? Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. He'll cooperate me. The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. and that you arrived at the lounge after that. Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure, less a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling. It wasn't an alien. We've now figured that out. As long as he has an alibi. Has the lighter been found yet? No, it is not. I assume the killer took it with him. But, I mean, maybe the prosecution found it. You can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Very well. Dr. Cosmos, your testimony, please. Better not have lies in it, sir. Pew. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, and, well, the launch pad 1 door. Okay, don't worry. Let's finish the story until I can sort of say what I think happened. And the courtroom door should have been shut tight to the killer. Control room door. Okay, so he claims that he vanished into thin air. There's only like 2 locations he could go. He can't go to where a director is. He's in the boarding lounge, gets fired at. He hides, killer leaves because he's gone now. Now he can't go to the control room. Only Yuri Cosmos can go through. The window, is that openable? Maybe. The only other place he could go, or they could go, is to the Launchpad 1 corridor. That's the only other place. But they have said that it is possible to rotate the fucking entirety of the building. So maybe while this was all going on, nobody fucking noticed it fucking rotated. That would be a huge thing to not notice. But, yeah. And the killer went to the Space Museum somehow. That's my guess. But, there'd have to be a lot of evidence for that to happen. So I don't have any of that. That's all the theory I have. So you were shot by the killer as well. And then it disappeared. Yes. Though luckily, no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. So in your testimony, he had true killer inside fired it. So the killer's gun hit the tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arms' bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into. So let's see. Yeah, it's, get a good clear image of this. Dr. Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Turan and his killer, the culprit shot a .10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Turan's oxygen tank and ruptured it. So, aiming in the dark with a candle, you really can't do shit. A lighter, you can't really do shit. So I guess he aimed pretty bad. Then the killer disappeared, and the director went into the boarding lounge. Vanished into thin air. Then when Detective Arm came up and fired those warning shots at him, judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. And it's bad for our defendant, because that means our defendant would be the only one who could do it, since killer can't disappear. Dr. Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. What I found was Turan with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos. Silence! Silence! A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand. Well, that might be the first true statement he's said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple. Because it was Space Boy himself. When he was spotted, the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. Drew, stop bringing that up. He did not do that. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence, so let's just be quiet for now. Dr. Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. Yet. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono? I can't find any holes in this testimony. I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? Huh? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Oh, which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss! I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over your secrets of your heart to me. Boop. Time for some therapy. Time to get that BetterHelp subscription running. So try to enter the lounge with his wheelie. Anger. No emotions. Then he was sad, angry, a little angry, and surprised. Hid. Emotions the same. When I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. There's a lack of emotion here. You'd think you'd be surprised by that. I was near the elevator side door. Well, launchpad door 1. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. What have you said about this? got it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of a launch pad door. The Criterion Cosmos? Afraid? And what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I'm most certainly not. Slam. Director Cosmos. There's something about the launch pad door you're not telling us, isn't there? Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion at odds with his testimony. Go get him. Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Have to pinpoint our way to victory. Back in the Matrix. Maybe there's lack of emotion.
Got it.
You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. And yet at the time you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why are you... I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea where they went. Isn't that right? What? No! Oh, of course not! That's preposterous! Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launchpad door was filled with smoke, making that impassable. So you mustn't... wait. So it's precious few people can go into the control room. That's what I heard once. Not only you. So it could only be one other person that can go in there, and you know, you're like, oh, it has to be them. As for the southern door, I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe. Or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took the opportunity to silently slip through the southern door? Oh, I highly doubt it. As you recall, right after I entered the lounge, Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Wait, what if it was Arm? Just Arm has two Wait. No. Who has the 10mm? Is it? Arm used the 10mm to... No, the 38mm. Found near the victim's oxygen tank, fired by a 38 caliber handgun. It was made by a bullet fired from a 38 caliber. Discovered in the gutter that ran south of the border. It was fired from a 10 caliber handgun. He has... Maybe... Could it be her? It's possible. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use? Huh. I'll just input those two pieces of data and... Yes, just what I wanted to see. Presto changeo. Less Discord. It looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Adina. Makes sense of what we've learned. Dr. Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about Launchpad 1 door. So he thinks it went through the Launchpad 1 door, though? When we put these two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here?
Take that!
Let's just say this. The culprit went through the launch pad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes! I mean, no! The disaster's starboard! We're going to crash into an asteroid! Master Tactician, you are not. But the area beyond that door is filled with smoke, wasn't it? True. But this is still only the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies. I was gonna say logistical. But that door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened the security lock, do you? Could have used Terran's handprint. That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past the security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. Clay? His gloves were off. It was either that or it was Solomon. I actually forgot who it was. It was either Solomon or Clay. I totally forgot. I know it was like yesterday since I did. It was a very important part. No, Clay. It was probably Solomon though. Oh, God, yikes! That person's fingerprints were not found on the device. You sounded so sure, only to produce in this nonsense. What were you thinking? Well, I'm thinking that I forgot. I'm sorry. I couldn't check the evidence, alright? It was a 50-50 shot. Okay, you know what? I'll just take that one. The haircuts are to be gotten on your own time, Mr. Right. Yes, Your Honor. Though I can't recommend Barber Blackwell if you value your head. Alright, it's Mr. Starbuck.
Take that!
Take that. The dots! Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. Oh! Looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? Huh? Oh yes, by all means. There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1. Right. The one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Nah, it's not there. Sorry, buddy. And the mystery will be solved. What do you think of my logic? Does this guy, like, not look at the evidence at all? I, hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Oh my! The footage cuts off! The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There's no footage after this. Be it of criminals or space aliens. I thought it was such a good idea too. Huh. Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery. Is he? Are they? It doesn't mean you should try to show off too much, Grandpa Baldness. Prosecutor Blackwell! How did you know about my grandchild? I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Can't believe they're in the stands. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? Oh boy, I must. I went into the lounge. Info update. That's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. It's like, oh no, I'm surprised. Detective shot at me! The killer could have only escaped the launch pad, right? Huh. What do you think about Director Cosmos' emotional response to Tina? Actually, my cat is really sick, you know? What? What? Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. And on top of that, my dog just doesn't seem to want to play with me. Tina, how does this have anything to do with the case? But I'm very sorry. Why are you telling me all this now? Just humor me, okay? Now, when you heard about my cat, and then about my dog, which story made you feel sadder? The cat. Story about your cat, of course. It's only natural. It's a sick-ass cat. Exactly. That would be a natural reaction. There's nothing natural about the director's reactions. I think how each individual reaction changes across the whole testimony will be the key. Sounds unnaturally complicated, but that somehow doesn't surprise me. Okay. The killer then vanished. Went into the lounge. Surprise is pretty, adamant. It's a bit less surprising, I guess. But anger? He's usually angry. Sadness. Very surprised. Less surprised. I guess you would be more surprised at the fact that, I don't know, bullets are happening now. You're not that yeah, let's go with that. Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you? And again, when she fired. Isn't that a bit unnatural? Don't do that Shinji dad pose. Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experienced surprise on occasion. I'm mostly talking about the fact that you were more surprised that you found them and then a little less surprised when they started shooting at you. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point, it's not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what were you surprised by? Pardon me? First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. You were less surprised when she started shooting. After that, and just after that, you were, of course, again surprised when she shot at you. Considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Dr. Cosmos, what is strange about your surprised reaction is the fact that you were surprised twice. Not surprised by something else. More surprised when Arm came. Yeah, that one. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you. The surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. I think any normal person would be more surprised that the woman is shooting at you. Anyone is shooting at you. Being shot at is very surprising. What is this logic? What is this insanity? The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence operation. Hide under your desk. Ah! How's it hiding under your desk? Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. Nope. Still a little bit there, but, Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about the launch pad door. Whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, Maybe we can spot some change between before he came into the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This is footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Hey, look at that. There is a change. Something's definitely different. Director Cosmos.
What is it? What have you two been up to over there?
Yeah. Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you. That's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Oh, the switch has been flipped.
Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you had have pointed it out already.
He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. The switch has been flipped. The answer is this knob.
Oh, that's...
What does it do? Does it swap does it swap the fucking launch pads? Your Honor, please take a look at this footage.
Let's see.
Take a look at the knob next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical.
And what does that mean?
It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after,
Someone turned this knob. Oh!
after the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's hear what you have to say.
What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door? Fine. I admit it. You're right. I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions. So I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what?
Hey, did Ponko tell us something about how they prepared for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. It goes all the way over there. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. Guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the launch pad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch site. I don't think so. The launch pad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then where did the killer escape to? I guess there's still some things we have to uncover. Escape to the other side. Dr. Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail.
Fine, but listen carefully, for I'm about to give a history-making testimony.
So I was right about the launch pads moving. That's how you do it, though.
I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock.
Happiness.
I feared there might be more explosions, so I had to cut the launch pad loose. But the only escape the killer had was through launch pad 1. But that area was a sea of smoke.
Huh.
Confound it. Where on earth could they have gone?
The only way the escape the killer had was through Launchpad 1. Are you happy about this?
Got it!
Let's try this one. Happiness. Very weird emotion. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so, and yet you did it. You felt some joy as if you were very pleased with yourself.
Oh! How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there?
Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. So care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back to the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda.
Oh, how do you know about that too?
Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing. Yes, such pro at guessing.
But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never, ever tell you. So there.
I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake.
And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence!
Silence. You, a man of integrity, don't make me laugh.
But Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden?
You've spotted nothing but falsity since you stepped on to the stand.
True. Understandable. Speaking of, I need to drink water.
You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. That's for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest bare-faced liar an honor. Liar?
His words bite harder than his blade.
You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions. My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you.
You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend.
And here's a thought for you, immediately following the bombing.
Insulting him like, can you speak as if you came from this era?
It's like, no.
Okay.
Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on the scene.
What? Liar! So that means the director didn't move the launch pad. The killer maybe did, though. And then the director moved it back.
Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content.
Liar!
Objection!
Objection! But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped to.
Ah! You're sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out? Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking.
No, I have some evidence. I can provide some.
Stop chasing your fantasies into the reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy? Don't call me boy. Ah! I'm older than you.
Haha. Talk about hitting below the belt.
Youngins these days.
I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back where it's supposed to be? What the fuck are you talking about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? Huh? And after the incident, the Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob and call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. I was talking about a fucking huge building. God! Do we have any proof? How did no one notice this? The fuck is that? Is that your sigh? Are you pretending to be my defendant now? You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. I don't think that was Mr. Starbuck. It sounded like a dying whale. Was what I really said that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your logic is to you. However, our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge when our astral wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film. Alright. So to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Gotta grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. We know the launch pad must have been moved. Our deductions and the actual facts of the case are direct contradiction to each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched, even for me. Or is it? Never actually boarded the rocket. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe. What are we about to prove here? Huh? Think they went to the museum? Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if when the director moved launch pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull or I'll cut you! Mr. Wright, will you explain yourself at once? Was no one in the museum? I guess they were launching a rocket, so I guess no one was there. But like, how did no one notice the buildings move? I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmos' reasoning for moving launch pad 1 was trap the killer, to hide it, to switch it to another place. Are they trapping the killer though? It's either to hide it or switch it to another place. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you just say switch it? What could he possibly have switched the launch pad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what he switched with launch pad 1. What is happening? Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. but it has all the same features as Launchpad 1. It can even be moved to the launch site. Wait, it can't launch? Meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other.
You can't mean...
The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. Insanity. What the fuck are we talking about right now? I came up with this theory, but what? How did people not notice? Watch! I don't even know what he said. And yet it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. Balderdash. He's cooking. What the fuck? No, aren't there more people in the building? Don't they even notice? Yo, there's fucking buildings moving. What's going on here? This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see. Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. That's right. And when the two switch like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding Lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from boarding Lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from boarding Lounge 2. Welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Exactly. Anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. Aren't there multiple people there? Oh. I mean, there was also security, so they probably didn't let anyone near the launch site, except for the staff. True. But there's giant buildings moving. Did they feel anything from that? There is no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, when the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted the bomb. After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into boarding lounge 1, waited there, concealed. Oh, okay, so then they put the bomb in the rocket into launch pad 1. They go back to they sneak in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell saw Mr. Starbuck and the director all saw a suspicious figure. Which is, at this point, it's either her lying or it's him, which I was right. He's suspicious. There's only, I mean, it could be Candace. She maybe moved around and she's just been dead this entire time. That would be funny. It could be a robot. No. Well, we could suppose after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum without the smoke. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. So, also, how inconvenient is this? Like one flip of a switch, and it's like, hey, yeah, these switch around. They do a switcheroo. Like, are there like ways to move them? How when you flip the switch, it's like it looks like a knob. Like, does one move into the launch area, or I'm not getting the logistics of this fucking Cosmos Space Museum. No wonder they're losing budget money. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Oh! Right, Dono. I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you a sword master bluff. I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor.
Silence!
So true.
But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That's right. You have no proof I switched the launch pads.
Somebody needs better anger management counselor. If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other, so the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see. This is the image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different when we? Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage? As number 2, as number 1. Oh my god! Oh my god! It was there the entire time. Oh my fucking god! It was number 2 there. Why did I not notice that? I looked at that thing so many times. Huh? That number on the floor. I guess because the first case started and I was like, wow. It started with the trial, and they mentioned Launchpad 2, but then they were like, yeah, we're not talking about that anymore. And then we just continue on. I didn't really get to see the logistics of the building until the investigation. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell.
And if this is just another bluff.
Oh, don't worry. It's all right here. Right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum.
Very well done. Answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum?
Right there.
Take that!
There is a number 1 on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2.
What?
Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the 1 to the Space Museum. I know I'm saying a lot of numbers right now, but you know what I mean. And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. And I assume our defendant just got sick from all the something that was slipped into him. Maybe was it in the air canister? Actually, hang on. I just remember this. Victim's oxygen tank was struck by the bullet. Do we have anything else? No, not yet. Oh, we got rid of that evidence, but The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1 on the side opposite the Space Museum. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery of the previous trial, how they got down the ladder, is cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level.
Just incredible. The 2 launch pads were all actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed in an event of this magnitude. Like, seriously, how the fuck did they not notice?
Everyone was down in the basement shelter, and the launch pads were swapped back. But what about before? What about before? There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. There it is. Good lord. What is with that outfit with the scar on it? Bye-bye. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time. You told us the truth.
My honor, my glory. Everything is slipping away. Galactic engine ignition. What? It's got haywire. It won't stop.
Oh, it needs the stars.
My stars, my glory. No, that way. Oh, one. There he goes. Bailiff, please catch him. Bailiff, on your steed, and after that, witness. Do we actually have horses in the courtroom? He just gets another moped. Oh. I should we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? I admit it. It's true. I switched launch pad 1 for the Space Museum. Oh, it is good to hear words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. And as for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with. Please. I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. Motherfucker, what? We're gonna accuse you of this murder. But I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in the blast. The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not Bailiff helped the director retrieve his stars. Yes, sir. Alright, man. You good? You good doing your Shinji dad pose right there? Here's the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mrs. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it? What don't you get? Director, why'd you do all that? In the very beginning, you never meant to launch... for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy. I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director, will I ever get the chance to go to space again? Is it a dream, fleeting? Yes. Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. And the dream is still alive.
Silence.
Stop. What? Don't ruin this moment, Blackwell. Come on. Ow! Huh. You're not going into space, Starbuck. But prison. I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? He must think he had something to do with that incident 7 years ago. Yes, I accept the launch pads really were switched.
Even though that sounds insanity, I don't know how no one noticed that before the entire thing went off. I mean, we have staff, we have security, we have regular-ass people, but sure, I accept they switched. And if there were a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum.
Oh, that's a good point.
Ah, he's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know.
What? Me?
Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now! If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood.
I'm going to die. I want to die in space.
You have to do something. Solomon Starbuck. Prepare yourself. He's about to try to murder somebody.
Yo, Fulbright.
Thank you, Fulbright.
Oh.
Now, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Oh, that annoyingly cheerful laugh. It can be none other than... Oh, it's not him. It's not Fulbright. It's his sister. Oh, no, it's Fulbright. Never mind. I thought that she grabbed the electrical shock. I don't know why we were getting ready for a reveal here. He's been here the entire time. Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright. Here, in justice we trust. Detective Fulbright? Why are we surprised he's here? He comes here every time. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. Hope I'm not too late. I don't believe it. We had an appointment? Didn't we ask him to do something? I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady across the street. And then I had to break it up, a cat fight. I tell you, just as sure as a full-time job. Was it a fight between cats, or... Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But you have finally succumbed? Nope. But it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence? Come to think of it, he did say something about finding some evidence. What evidence did you find, good Fulbright? Thanks to you two, I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. Are you redeemed posture check? I didn't think he was serious though. So, what is it, detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? And while we leave it on that for a bit, I need to go use the bathroom. On this fantastic theme. Alrighty. Back. So, what did you find? It is indeed. It's a lighter. Have a look at this. What's this? A lighter? That's right. A lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it. What? Gah! This is a big piece of evidence you found. Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent! This is it. This is just what I needed. The letter found on the floor of the Space Museum. The true culprit's fingerprints are on it. The victim's blood. It's gonna be Blackwell's sister, I swear. Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where the lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped with lighter in hand into the Space Museum, where they dropped it. What a big thing to drop. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. And finally, the killer left through the boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in boarding lounge 1 after the murder. A fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there. Silence. But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that time? Objection! Well, it's someone's fingerprints, but he was in an astronaut suit. You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with the lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. No. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. God! Ah! This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defendant's claims. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. He really wants this guy to be it. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow... No way. Don't tell me. Don't tell me the statute of limitations runs out tomorrow.
Silence.
Silence. Fool Bright. You promised never to speak of that. Is it the anniversary of it? Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light... Oh, I get it. I said in light. Oh, yes, we get it, sir. Of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed a crime. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, not guilty! We did it! Betty, we did it, we survived! Is no one gonna yell objection? Is it over? Can we go home? Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. So he conveniently found this lighter? I don't know about you, Mr. Fulbright. I don't trust you. Did you plant that lighter? Did you make evidence? Mr. Wright. Miss Sykes. Thank you. And please take Apollo for me, too. You all are the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too. But it's gonna have to wait. Now that the verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned. Alright, let's go home.
Objection.
Damn it! Oh, so close. He already said his thing. We gotta go home. It's too late to object, isn't it? Don't you remember, Phoenix? You did this before. Oh wait, Miles Edgeworth actually did it before. Hang on, yeah. After we solved the one murder, then we were like, oh no, but we have to solve this other murder that we're talking about right now. Oh, it actually literally is just like case 4 of the first game. He's about to bring up the other one. He's about to print him on the one 7 years ago. Oh, 7 years ago, yeah. It's simply it's impossible. Something's wrong. But Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? God, Fulbright! What were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter?
Huh? Oh, the results. Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was a cat fight, and I kind of got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbucks. So,
You haven't read it. You haven't yet. Have you yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Adina Sykes! Fuck! Oh, no! So says the report.
what? What? Oh, me? It's solid. It's dire. It's a very dun dun dun.
Order! I said order! Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for it. Do we have an alibi for her? We just finished proving that this lighter could only belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit. Dina's like, nah, I'm not gonna fucking do this. I'm not that surprised because this is ridiculous. This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? The lighter evidence found by Detective Fulbright. It has Adina's prints on it in the victim's blood.
What have I done? Please forgive me.
I don't know about you, Mr. Fulbright. I don't trust you. How do you bring this to us? Order! Order! Mr. Detective Fulbright, stop your crying! What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. It's the dark age of the law.
Order! Order! I will have order!
They're not listening. They are fucking yapping. Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us. To accuse Adina of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. Well, the end of the case. Bro. Turnabout for tomorrow. Well, this is technically, I guess, a two-parter case. Because it's still about this stuff. That's crazy. And there's that one. Well, by the image there, we could tell who's. We already could tell some returning characters return. We could tell that guy is there. My God, you gotta keep going. I'm hungry though. I could keep going, I guess. It's only been 2 hours. No, it's been 2.5 hours. Just eat and then stream. Just as a way for food? I could. But I also kind of want to just relax because it's Sunday night. I'm sorry, second. I'm a little tired. It's a Sunday. I gotta keep going tomorrow. But I'll try. I'll try to do a lot tomorrow. I mean, yeah. I think it's a good, decent spot to end it on. I'm sorry. But yeah. I guess that is it then. This has been that's a crazy trial. Then the fact that it's a two-parter, I might as well just expand it. There's we already know what the spoiler is on that image. How do I do this? Yeah, set music in background. Yeah. Now Athena. Oh, and then she didn't get to kind of talk about it, but like, yeah, she's connected to Athena. Simon is there. Cyclops. Edgeworth is there. For a reason. Don't know why. I'll call out. Don't call out a work for tomorrow. But yeah, you're also, you could do whatever you want. But thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Bye. Both you, Second, Snow Monkey, anyone else who stopped by. This has been fun. I'm excited to see what else the next. But we have 2 cases left. The actual finale of the game, and the DLC case that involves pirates or something. I don't know. This has been fun. Everyone have a good night. I'm sorry it was